I do not believe, nor is it in the Constitution, about the separation of church and state. That was a letter that was written about a group in France, and it has no constitutional bearing. Although we have had court rulings in its favor, it is actually not part of our Constitution. So the whole question of separation of church and state, I actually have a great example. The church doesn't like me to do political business on their phone, 501c3. So this is my political phone and this is my church phone. To me, I think the absence of people of faith in the government marketplace is the problem. We are in a very difficult place right now in our nation.
Yeah.
And I think the founding fathers had a different take on it. They were very comfortable with their faith, wrote about it, are endowed by our Creator. I mean, this language was very common, and somehow we've gotten away from that. That's not what this podcast is about, but that's my story, is that I believe people of faith not having their voice heard. We talked about voice a minute ago, and being able to be that voice in the political arena, whether it's in Nashville, whether it's in Cleveland as mayor. My faith and my service are intertwined.
Yeah, I love that, because we're going to get in the weeds now. Here's a deep philosophical statement, if I do say so myself. I think the absence of faith in these arenas, even as I joked earlier, right, that two things you don't talk about, politics and faith. Okay, so we've absolutely extricated the most important conversation that we can have in our lifetime, the conversation of faith, from the public arena, from the public circle. Now, in some ways, I think Christianity has a lot to own up to in terms of how that took place. But in the aftermath of it, regardless of how it took place, is especially in the political arena. And I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, since not only have you dealt with politics on a state and local level, but also on a grander scale, state level, and then probably some intermingling on the federal. But what's happened in the aftermath of a post-Christian nation is that we've also evolved politically in a very strange way. God is no longer certainly the center, or even morality the center of our politics, and as a result of it, what's taken its place is a new kind of religion, I think. A kind of woke religion where now the last people on the planet that may actually believe in science are actually Christians. And while Democrats claim to be the party of science, believe in incredibly unscientific views as it pertains to gender and all sorts of other stuff. And so without digging into the weeds too much, I think what I see anyway is a post-Christian government that now we say, okay, separation of church and state. Okay, well, that's one layer. We're next layer removed, where now there's a radicalness to our political life and to some political ideology that's taking this country in a very, very strange turn, to say the least.
Catch new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Uberman for free right now by going to YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Simply type Indie Thinker with Reed Uberman in the search bar and click on my face. Don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to stay informed when a new episode drops.